This carnival is special one at Spice Isle Jewelry. Get up to 40% off our collection of silver and gold jewelry with purchases above $115. Visit our 2 locations on Grenville Street, St. George's and Spiceland Mall Grand Dance and see our fine selection of traditional West Indian bangles, necklaces, earrings, rings and our unique handmade pieces. Step into Spice Isle Jewelry and shop in air-conditioned comfort with friendly, helpful and courteous staff. We also pay the most for scrap gold. Our repair service is second to none. Treat yourself or someone special with something special from Spice Isle Jewelry. Serving you since 1986. Call us on telephone number 440-3155 or 440-6648. Sale ends August 31st.
Yes, welcome to the ride, guys. Welcome to Ride Along Live for today, Monday. Let me tell you, in this technological world, you have to sometimes give way for technical difficulties, right? And sometimes there's nothing you could do. Okay, but anyway, we are here. Yes, we are here. Oh Lord, you see, bless Gail Taylor. Yes, I know I'm late, and at least guys, all you have to give me at least 1 or 2 allocated days that I could be late. All right, because all you know, are always on time. All you know, are always on time. Right? All right. So I ain't gonna stick, guys. We're going straight into it because we have a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about, a whole lot of things to put into perspective. Yeah, me, you, and everybody else. And we have a guest, Mr. Micheal Baptiste, will be joining us. You guys are going to be able to hear him because he is a former opposition leader. And he would be able to help us put this thing into perspective. I know you guys have been hearing a lot about this Faith. Let me get the full exact name of the organization. You guys have been hearing a whole lot about it for this past couple of days. And, you know, a lot of people call me and they came in late into the conversation. So they're not privy to all the information. That's why we decided to bring the former opposition leader. Faith. Yes. Okay, I'm getting the full name of the organization. I don't want to misquote. Okay, I'm getting it. I have the document, but I can't find the exact name. All right. If anybody have it, type it up for me. The full exact name of the organization so we could start talking about it. Apology accepted. Thank you so much, Dark Chocolate. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Okay. All right. If anybody had the full name of the organization, guys, we know it has Faith, but it has a full name. Is a 501c3 organization. And in fact, I wanna bring everyone into perspective with the video that I did that summarized how the whole conversation started. Check out this video, and when we come back, we bring in Mr. Micheal Baptiste and get to talk about it in further details. Check this out.
This is News Guard, bringing you the latest breaking news of the day.
Now, during this press conference that was held on August 25th, 2022, the media got the first-hand opportunity to ask questions directly to former Minister Emmeline Pierre about a little-known organization that has been creating a lot of buzz in the blogosphere lately. It was reported in a document published on social media that the Faith Organization for People's Development Incorporated received a government subvention of over $1 million.
There's an issue now with some workers who are doing sanitization in schools associated with the Faith Development Organization Incorporated in the former minister, the current MP for that area, Mrs. Pierre's constituency.
All of the persons involved in Faith, I know them closely, all of them. I have a very good working relationship with the organization that is registered as a community-based non-profit organization, and have worked very closely with them. As a matter of fact, I want to say as far back as the construction of the Telescope Resource Center, and that was when that working relationship continued, and continued.
Now, as you could imagine, members of the media had many questions to the former Minister of Education, trying to find out if there's any possible linkage between the organization and the former minister.
My former office manager is one of the directors of Faith, responsible for projects. And as I said, the persons involved are persons who are involved in community development initiative, and particularly areas that I'm passionate about.
Now, in a document posted on the Vision Information Service Facebook page,
showed a total government subvention of $1,191,416, with operating expense with over $1.1 million and salaries and stipend of over $1 million.
Concerning the nonprofit organization, that has been a topic of debate. Now, what specific role did you play in influencing the establishment of this nonprofit?
Well, of course, I always encourage, and persons who have been to communities that I have engaged would always be able to say that this is something I've encouraged, community organization, taking responsibility. And as it relates to Faith, I have always been advocating for NGOs, community-based organization, to get more actively involved in projects within, not just in our community, but throughout Grenada. There's a need for that, and I believe anybody would want to encourage and support those initiatives.
Popular media personality Kem Jones spoke out and had many questions.
We need some explanation from those who are closely aligned to this organization, because it's kind of unheard of. It's not conventional that the government will give to an organization $1.191 million, right? $1,191,000 as government subvention.
Now, in addition to this, we did get reports from a number of individuals who is yet to get compensated for months of service with the said company. Now, that is certainly a story that we are paying a lot of attention to, and will update you as more information is gathered here and Right Along Live. I don't know, I just have a feeling. All right. Okay, good. So we're back. So this is a perspective of what transpired during the press conference that was recently held. Again, joining us right now to help us put this whole thing into perspective and answer some questions as to his understanding as to what's taking place here is former opposition leader from my area, Mr. Micheal Baptiste. Mr. Micheal Baptiste, could you hear me, sir? Mr. Baptiste, could you hear me? All right. Let's see if we could reconnect with Mr. Baptiste. Stand by, guys. We're going to reconnect with Mr. Baptiste. In the meantime, guys, we're going to be opening up the phone lines pretty early for everyone who wish to participate and lend their voice to the discussion. In the meantime, let me just call Micheal Baptiste back. He's been having some technical difficulties a little bit earlier, and so that was resolved. Let's work on that right now. Stay tuned, guys. We're calling back Mr. Baptiste. Micheal, are you there?
I'm here. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I just want to make sure that we don't get cut off again. Stand by. Let me fix and ensure we have a smooth flow from here. All right, Mr. Baptiste, welcome to Ride Along. How are you doing today, sir?
I am very well, and I hope that you are, and all the wonderful listeners of a pleasant evening to everybody.
Yes. Mr. Micheal Baptiste, you are a former opposition leader, so you pretty much understand it going on in this situation right here. Give me a preliminary understanding about this Faith organization, full name Faith Organization for People's Development. Give me a full understanding as to what's happening here.
Well, in listening to the press conference, I get the impression that the minister was saying, the former minister, the MP, was saying that she has a close relationship with that company, one. She says she knows every one of them, the officers, that is, personally. And she went on to say it's a community-based organization.
Yeah.
Which I interpret to mean for the constituency that she represents. But in looking at the officers of that company, most of them does not reside in that company. So in the constituency where that company is based.
Mm-hmm.
Several things came to mind. One, did she break the law? The law requires that the procurement of goods and services over $10,000 must be tendered.
Mm-hmm.
And you must have three persons or companies doing that tendering. In the case of that company, that was not done. So clearly there's some questions that need to be asked there. Why was the law circumvented? Why the Ministry of Education, where the good lady is a minister, made no attempt to put out these contracts?
Right.
As I said, over 10,000. And that calls for competitive bidding. That was not done. She went on to say that the reason why it was not done is because of the emergency nature of the situation. And that again calls for some investigation, because sanitizing, it was a policy of the government, and it was talked about for a long time, and everyone knew that when the schools were closed, before the students and teachers returned to school, the place had to be sanitized. So
right.
I am not so sure that can be classified as an emergency. An emergency would be a slide, some accident, some things happen immediately, and in order to preserve life and property, some help, that the work had to be done right away.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of this sanitizing, it appears to me as if it was a deliberate attempt on the part of the MP to steer these contracts to this company, which she has admitted that she has close ties with. In looking at the names on that company, it appears to me as if one of her close relatives, the name of a sister, someone bearing
Allegedly, because we're not able to independently verify that.
someone with the same name,
Right.
someone with the same name as her sister,
Right.
appears to be an officer of that company.
Right.
So there is work to be done there. It was unfortunate that the MP for St. Mark's bought in and did not allow the member to continue because she was on the part of incrimination. Because she said a whole lot there, which I think when caught off guard, she started talking out of turn. She said she's familiar with the office of the company. She said it was a contract was given to them
And other
without
ancillary services at the schools.
So there's a question of unethical behavior, misbehavior in public office, and the question of breaking the law by procuring goods and services without the tendering process. So there's a lot there that investigators will have to ask her.
Yeah, you know, I want to talk because a lot of people are having mixed ideas as to how the media should proceed with this particular case right here. And I want to play devil's advocate. Could it be a situation where there was actually a real emergency need to have said organization provide the service so that the students or the kids could go back to school in a safe environment, and there was really no time for the tendering process?
Well, that is the operating question there. All schools throughout the island had to be sanitized. So to single out Faith and say, well, Faith had to be given that, had to be given the contract because of an emergency nature. Again, I guess the forensic auditors will have to look at the company. There must be a paper trail. And you know, what is most troubling? The employees of that company are people on the bottom of the economic ladder who earns less than minimum wage, 600, 700 a month, while millions of dollars are going to a company of that nature. And when you look at the area that the goodly lady represents, you look at Telescope, an area riddled with poverty, Trenchtown, Subies, Markey, Monfan, Kuma, Cathay. That is the poorest constituency in the country. And one would thought that the MP who talks so much about vulnerables and love for the poor, one would thought that should be creative enough to pick a single woman head of household or some underprivileged or vulnerable person in the constituency and steer some of these lucrative contracts too. But in looking at the names on that, it appears to me as if it was a safe haven for the NNP operatives.
Guys, we want to entertain some of your feedback as well. We're looking at this particular case right here. As you know, it was I first learned of it a little bit before the press conference, but during that particular press conference, all the media organization was zoning in on the question of Faith. And a day or so, actually the same day of the press conference, Vision Information Network put out a document that stated that government gave the said organization over $1 million in subventions. Now, Michael, again, you've been there. You actually was the opposition leader, so you know how this thing does work. Why would the government, in what instant would the government give over $1 million to any to an organization? And what would be
Well,
the process of the government giving
well,
those
that-
subventions to those to that particular company?
That is rather unusual. There are several NGOs and several non-profit organizations who from time to time get subvention from government. But I can't recall in recent times that so much have been done to an organization where the minister have close ties and where the names of persons who appear to have the same name as the minister's sister and other NNP operatives are officers of that company. So it's very unusual. I think, again, we have to proceed with caution. We have to allow the, I wanted to say FIU, but then I quickly swallowed that, knowing that FIU was headed by the said person's husband. So while all of this was taking place, they had a carte blanche because they were protected. There were no money laundering charges. There was no investigation as to this fraudulent companies that were set up. They were allowed to operate freely. But let me add, it is the modus operandi of the new National Party. Now, leading up to the 2008 general elections, it was revealed then, and the evidence that was there, that the then Prime Minister, Dr. Micheal, amended Section 8 of the Finance and Audit Act to enable government to loan his family millions and millions of dollars. I mean, when he was cornered and he was cut, he was forced to then reveal to the parliament that yes, his family is involved. And yes, his family would repay that loan. That you're talking about $18 million that was given to that company head where his family was involved. But he has admitted it. So we can say the Prime Minister's anti-children, 18 million. And then another $4.5 million came from the Treasury to pay the telephone bills of Dr. Micheal anti-children's company. And here how he operated. Same way as Faith, here how they operated. In the same manner as Faith, they had, in this case, they had a relatively unknown person fronting as the president of the company, while the rest of Dr. Micheal's family was the main operators. And we saw what happened. Now, the NDC came into power in 2008, and just like the Faith company, they talk a lot of hoopla, lot of noise they made, and the public was expecting that a transaction of that nature with so much nepotism, where the law of the land, and here's what the law said at the time. The law said, Section 8 of the Finance and Audit Act was quite clear. He said government cannot loan money to private individuals or private companies. Dr. Micheal amended that law to say except in the case of his family, which is again a clear breach of the Finance and Audit Act.
Hold on. It says except in the case of his family. It says that verbatimly.
It said except in the case of call center.
Okay.
Which was his family's company. Okay. Now, a lot was said. The NDC went in. They promised to investigate, and as of now, that $22 million is still outstanding, because the only way you could get easement of a government debt is by virtue of an act of parliament. So a lot was said on that. A lot was said about other companies, but I think we the public and the news media have to stay on top of this. You may recall during the election campaign, Dr. Micheal was threatening to arrest one of the NDC candidates. He was saying that he's not sure that candidate would make it on nomination day for allegedly a minor infraction. But here you have a situation where clearly laws were broken. The question that have to be asked, why was it necessary for the Minister of Education, and the then Minister of Education at the time, through her Ministry of Education, to award such lucrative contract without bidding? No competitive bidding, not even advertising as it ought to be, as the law allows. So there's a lot that we, the public, should ask from this new government, and it should not rest just like the other allegations against the former government that just swept under the carpet.
Yeah. Guys, we want to get your views on this topic right here. We're talking about the Faith organization. It's a non-for-profit. It's registered as a non-for-profit organization. And we recently got an article of amendment that showed that this company, the name of this organization was changed. The Companies Act of 1994, Companies Regulation, Section 33 and 216, Article of Amendment. The name of the company previously was the St. Andrews Southeast Development Organization. And that company was changed to now the Faith Organization for People's Development, Inc. Micheal, explain again. We cannot confirm corruption here. We are just saying that there are some, like some hanky panky going on there because of all of these nepotism, and we're seeing a lot of signs that looks like questionable, but we cannot confirm that because there have not been an independent investigation. But Micheal, based on what we've seen here, we have a name, the St. Andrews Southeast Development Organization, changing its name to the Faith Organization for People's Development, Inc. What's your lead on the name change?
Well, the name change is to, again, circumvent the process and to camouflage the name as to not make it look that conspicuous, changing from a constituency-based organization to a faith, to the name faith, whatever. I think it was a deliberate attempt to branch out the community development organization into a company where contracts can be steered. The representative went on to say that she knows them well and she has a close working relationship with them. But you know, the question I think the media did not ask, where is that faith office? Was it operating out of a government facility? You see, that's the question asked, because she said a former office manager in her constituency, was a part of that as well. Now, it is my understanding that a lot of these activities took place in the parliamentary office for St. Andrew Southeast. Because on any given day, you can see the number of people going into that office, working out of that office.
But Micheal, we cannot independently confirm that the people working out of there are working out of or for the benefit of faith. The parliamentary.
Well, I am not saying they're working for the benefit of faith, but in a constituency office, you would have the secretary, and you may have the cleaner.
Right.
And possible now and again, the housing coordinator or the youth officer may from time to time come out of there. But that is another part of the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Were they working out of the parliamentary office? And I suspect a lot of emphasis would be placed in that direction, because that again would be another violation, a violation of the law. A private entity should not be operating from a government facility. All parliamentary offices are paid and staffed by the Clerk of Parliament. And of course, it is the office for the said representative. If, and I said if, upon investigation, that constituency office was used by Faith to conduct a business, I suppose we have another violation of the law. So there are several areas that I think one need to ask some questions.
Well, definitely, I'm seeing a lot of questions. There are so many people in the chat room voicing their opinions, various questions on the subject. But I want to get you guys' voice on it. You could call in at any time. The number that you could call is 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Call us right now. Let us know what you think about this whole Faith organization. And also, I got a call earlier today, and someone wanted to find out what is the latest information we received as relates to Faith, because they have been waiting for the past 2 months and they have not yet gotten paid, right? So the other big problem is there are a number of people. The person that called me earlier today was a security officer, and he's complaining that he hasn't gotten paid and he's waiting to get paid. And whenever he goes into the office to get his check, he's been told that they haven't gotten the money as yet. So he has to wait. And there are people that were waiting for 3 months and haven't gotten any payment.
I regret you did not ask him which office.
Right.
That's important. Which office did he go to collect his check?
Yeah.
That's very, very important. And if it is the office of the parliamentary representative, that's a whole new ballgame.
Right.
Right.
So should the government of the day be responsible for the people that work? Because the claim is that government is a continuum, and if they work for the government, the government will somehow subsidize this operation. In the former administration, they didn't get paid. The new administration took effect. Who is responsible now to pay them?
Well, in contracting, you have to look at several factors. You have to look at the requisition, because when you're given a contract, you would have to present a requisition to government for payment.
Right.
The question is, for what period was the requisition presented? Was requisition presented and paid for up to July? I don't know. See, these are answers that is still blowing in the wind. So it's kind of hard to say who is responsible, because we do not know what period we're talking about, because you put in a requisition based on work done or based on the agreement as to how you're going to get paid, and that is how you proceed. So I don't know what period were they putting in the requisition for, how many people are they putting in the requisition for, and moreover, who is coming forward? Who is coming forward?
Yeah.
I think that is something we have to look at. I don't know whether the company would be defunct, but obviously, very, very important question. As I told you earlier, I am of the opinion that that company was operating, and I said I am of the opinion that that company was operating out of the parliamentary office in St. Andrews. And I am of the very, very strong opinion, and maybe I may be able to back it up with some evidence as to why I may do. I am of that opinion, but I am not ready to do so here.
Right.
Because I do have a building right across the street from the constituency office. So I think I am privy from time to time to see the traffic that's going in and out. So hence the reason why I formed that strong opinion that that company was operating out of that office.
So, Michael, who would, in a situation like this, right, as what's been alleged, and this would have gone through Parliament, wouldn't everyone, including the opposition leader, well, everyone be privy
No,
to?
not Parliament. The procurement of goods and services resides with the executive.
Yeah. Okay.
That is the executive, or what we call the cabinet.
Mm-hmm. Or the cabinet.
In case of allocation on a vote or budgetary allocations on the expenditure, that would fall under Parliament. The approval of the estimates of revenue and expenditure for that particular year, with the vote included under that for a specific purpose, will fall under Parliament. But once it leaves the Parliament and Parliament approves the estimates of revenue and expenditure, it goes to the executive, and they disperse they take on the administrative part of that process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So where do we start to look for paper trails?
Well, the Prime Minister is sitting. The Prime Minister would be sitting in an area where some of the paperwork may reside.
Mm-hmm.
And, most of we have to go back and look at vote 340. Again, that was dispensed by the Prime Minister under the Prime Minister's ministry. So all of this largesses would come out under vote 340. So that would be a very good place to look.
Okay. Someone just messaged me there. Our next person just messaged me back, and they also are claiming that they were not paid and they have been waiting on the payment for 2 months. That's actually the third person. Someone hit me up on Facebook as well with similar claims. So there are so many people that's coming out and are asking, how am I going to get my money? You know, I've worked for this organization for X amount of time.
As a public service, you may want to ask the persons who claim they was not paid. You may wish to ask them, when you was paid, where were you paid?
Right.
Yeah. Huh?
Right.
Because that would be very interesting to know, where did you pick up your check?
Yeah. Yes. The last person that messaged me, they did mention that the check was made out from the Faith organization. I'm gonna get some more information, but there should be a lot of paper trail, as you're saying, Michael. There should be bank statements, because a lot of these people are not being paid a lot. I mean,
as far as the monies that was given to them in terms of the subvention, they of course they have to be audited. You would have to account for how you spend the monies. I mean, government don't just give you subvention just like that. At the end of the year, you would have to present a financial statement, and you would have to give in details as to the breakdown of salaries, expenses, and how these monies was dispersed. Those are government funds. These are not grant aid. Huh? So there's a lot to be done there. And as I said, the Prime Minister, in the Prime Minister's office under Board 340, I'm sure he will find a lot of things there that can lend some assistance to how this that company operated.
Yeah. So do you think that the administration right now has all the information, paper trails and everything at the disposal right now to basically put this whole pieces of this puzzle together?
Well, bank records, one. There would be government save and accept is the seed money. Government does not pay out money in cash of that magnitude. Somebody would have to receive a check. So obviously, once there's a check, there's a paper trail. And you'd have to look at also the requisition. What was the check given for what period?
Right.
And they will have to indicate how many people on payroll. I'm sure all of that would form part of their requisition when they would have applied for payment. So there's a lot here that is a starting point. And since the minister gave such a big opening, she said more than I thought she should. Because indicating that she's very close to all the members, and she has a very good working relationship with that organization. One may ask the nature of that working relationship. And as I said, we will have to find out where the offices are located and to see if there was collusion between the faith organization and the parliamentary office for the St. Andrews Southeast constituency. I think that's a very important avenue that investigators may look at.
Yeah. Again, guys, we're opening up the phone lines. We want you guys, I'm seeing a lot of comments in the chat. Of course, I can't get to all of them, but I know you guys have some important question, and we want a chance to get your voice on it as well. If you want to ask a question to Mr. Micheal Baptiste, you could do so by calling, again, the number on the phone on the screen, 718-701-5720. We're talking about the faith organization, and what is being put out there right now is a call for possible investigation into this particular organization. However, there are people who don't think. In fact, I put out a post last week, and there are so many people who are just calling this a witch hunt. People who don't think that it should be something that we should even look at further, because they don't think that there's any there. So we want to get your voice on it. If you think that is something that not only the media but the authorities should further investigate, or do you see it as a nothing burger? There's absolutely nothing there. Want to get your both sides of the conversation. So we open up the phone line, 718-701-5720. Jump to our first caller. Caller, live, where are you calling us from? Hello?
Hello, good night.
Hey, good night. Caller, you live.
And how are you? How are you, Junior?
I'm doing fine. Where are you calling us from?
Trinidad and Tobago, and I love your guest tonight. He's directly on point.
Yes.
Now, what I want to ask, faith alliances, faith finish their terms in office, people to be paid. This is my question, right? Now, they have established that the election, I don't know if they were overzealous on themselves, that they believe they would have won the election, so they could have keep this subsidiary of, I don't know if it's campaign funding or parliamentary gifts or implementation of a minister in collaboration with a sideline partisan, so to speak.
Right.
But these people who was waiting on their remunerations understand that they have lost the election. Now, saying that you was not in cahoots with the party, that's a lie. You understanding that if you lost all your package, you lost your remuneration, you lost everything. The paper trail is in the minister. Who said that? We could believe that according to Mr. Baptiste, but you could get the paper trail of the checks. Getting the paper trail of the checks, remember she have an affiliation. She said in her own words, she are close with that organization. They have a good working relationship. But when it passed through cabinet, that is the party itself making a decision to give that subvention to that institution, which we have the same, they just call themselves non-profit and all these things, but they are affiliated in a different sector behind the door. So the people who is calling for their salary have to think, rethink, and understand that they know that that establishment was only built based on as long as they were in power. The paper trail to get directly to understand where we at and where we going to do like a FIU or to do investigation depends on the bank and where the check sender end. So if the check sent to all the bank, it must come back to a sender. So you go to the sender office and then you go in there and you sending your investigators and they will get a copy of all the check, which could accumulate our accountancy. Based on cabinet, they don't bong to give you a good accountability in their annuals, because you remember there's himself onto himself onto himself. So we could make up the books and do things which is not forensically, we'll put the right word, supposed to be done, so to speak.
Right.
So we know they could do what they want and chop up their own thing. The next thing, as Mr. Baptiste said, the traffic that was in and out the office, understand that it was a party thing. So you looking for pay is just being on commerce and propagandalism, because you know once they are out of office, they have no money to establish and to fund the faith. But I want you to listen, if there is excess to that administration, they're supposed to be going back to the government, or we freeze the account, do the forensic, get to know how much remain, who is to be paid, and if they want contract, they know their contract is terminated as soon as the party comes out of power. So this is my contribution. So bipartisan and partisan onto himself, there's supposed to be investigation to the minister firstly, the MP, for being in cahoots. It is alleged that she will, with them, a good relationship, but we want to know if the monies was all allocated and completely finished in their tenure, or if it had a surplus within the faith organization. This is my contribution. Good night.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. Yeah, and as it relates to the office, right, it is alleged. We cannot independently confirm that that is the case. We just want to say that it is alleged, and that as much as we have right now. It's an allegation, and it has not yet been confirmed. Michael,
what's that allegation?
Now that the offices that the people are collecting have been collecting their checks at the offices, at the office of the Parliament office.
Let's just say they're collecting the checks. I mean, the people who are collecting the checks was not mailed to them. The checks were not mailed to them. So I mean, that's quite easy to find out.
Right.
Where were they collecting the checks? I am saying that I am of the strong opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I am of a strong opinion that the faith organization possibly worked up the parliamentary office. And I base that strong opinion and based on activities that I have seen.
Okay.
And individuals that I have seen, and the traffic that I have seen. Okay. I believe that was the biggest traffic in any constituency office in the country.
Mm-hmm. Vince has a question for you. Say, Mr. Baptiste, do you think that government must set up an independent commission to investigate these alleged corruption?
Well, there's a lot of outstanding matters that people talk about. And as again, the call center, I can't stop talking about it because it was your humble servant who uncovered what the Prime Minister was trying to throw over the eyes of the Grenadian people at the time. And upon my investigation, I was able to expose it and say to the Prime Minister in Parliament and for the country to hear screaming at the top of my voice, begging the Grenadian people to lend me your ears, please. Look, it's happening before you. The Prime Minister is taking your money. He has amended the law. He has taken your money and he has put your money in the hands of his auntie-children. It's not an allegation. And if you go back to the Hansard of January 12, 2001, you will hear the Prime Minister finally, when he was caught, admitting, yes, some members of my family is involved, and yes, the money would be repaid, and it is a loan, Mr. Speaker. It would be repaid starting in March. That was March 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So as of now, we have not seen that money. That money has not been paid.
Right.
So you have seen a pattern. The faith organization is a similar pattern in how call center started. So it is the modus operandi. And let me say this. There's a lot of legitimate contracts by people working out in St. Andrews. Not all of them are operating in that way. And not all the ministers, your former ministers, you could point fingers at. Some people have legitimate contracts. They may have been helped by the parliamentary representative, but I can't say for sure that some of them are legitimate contracts given to individuals. But in the case with faith organization, you could see clearly there's a spark of corruption, collusion, the circumventing of the bidding process as required by law. You can see that written all over the faith organization. So I think the next person who call and complain about not getting paid, the simple question you should ask: when you were getting paid, where were you getting paid from?
Right. And we could even put it out right now because they have a few people who are watching at this point, and they may want to input on it. We ask them to call right now, 718-701-5720. We got a caller on the line. Caller, live. Where are you calling us from?
Good night.
Hello?
Jimmy.
Yeah, take me off a speaker. If you have me on speaker, take me off a speaker because we can hear you too good.
Sure, no problem. I wanted to read something for you.
Okay.
And this was a comment posted in reference to someone's status in relation to the whole faith organization deal.
Okay.
And I know there's a lot of questions being asked, and everybody wants these questions answered. But there is this Sean Douglas, this person under the name Sean Douglas, that made a comment that I want to just find the picture and read it out to you.
Yes.
Could you just give me some seconds? Hold on.
Yeah, we're waiting on the caller.
Yeah, this is it. This is the comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
When they started with the sanitizers in the schools in September 2020, we got paid by a lady in point for about 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
They would come to the school with the money, and we had to sign every month to get it.
Mm-hmm.
There was some issues with the woman, and then Michael Hutchinson took over, Mikey Hutchinson's brother. He came to the school and introduced himself, and from then, he was the one doing payroll. All our queries and concerns had to be addressed by him via a WhatsApp number. I haven't been on the program for about a year now, so I don't know if there is anything different, but you can start with Michael to get some insight in the matter. This was one of the comments made in reference to the faith situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess there are persons we can
forward us the thread to that post so we could follow it as well.
Well, I have the number on WhatsApp, so I can just forward it to you like right now.
Yeah, you could forward it to me. I want to follow it.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. Michael, are you hearing?
Yeah.
What's your spider senses telling you?
Well, it tells me that someone would cash a large amount of money through our local banks, since I don't believe the Treasury would be handing out cash like that. So the check would have been payable to someone who then would cash it at a bank, and then the cash would be dispersed to the workers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of questions here. Was the workers NIS paid? How much they were being paid? There's a lot of questions there. How they got employed?
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole lot of question. It's a company. It's a lot of question that needs asking, because the MP said a lot of things in a statement there. Her close working relationship. I don't know how that could be interpreted. A close working relationship with the organization. She knows everyone personally, so there's a lot of closeness taking place there. So I think there's a lot here for the investigators to follow up on, and without prejudicing her matter, I think she should be given the opportunity to go before an inquiry and to spell out in detail why the law was broken, why such a large contract was awarded to people whose names on the company is similar to that of your sister's name.
Right.
And why and where were the offices? Where did they operate from? So maybe when the answer to these questions are given, you may then understand why I am of such strong opinion that all of that activities came out of the parliamentary office in St. Andrew Southeast.
So they're saying here, when they started with the sanitize in the school in September 2020, they got paid by a lady in Point for about 5 months. They would come to the school with the money, and we had to sign every month to get it. There was some issues with the woman. Then Michael Hutchison took over. He came to the school and introduced himself. And from that, he was the one doing payroll. Interesting stuff. Interesting to say the least. Wow. Mike, I know that there are a lot of people that's looking at and start to dig in. And of course, we have our team, our investigative team on it as well, and they are digging deep to get some clarification on some of this thing here. But this looks...
Well, let me say now, we have a lot of NGOs in Grenada, and some of them provide useful services for communities that they serve, and most of them have a front, an office. you can see they have a sign, an office, and it's staffed. I can't recall seeing any office with a name faith organization anywhere, or hearing of an independent office where people can go to. Again, question, why would government give that large subvention to an NGO that does not have a permanent office somewhere? I can't, I don't think anybody came across the office where that NGO that's receiving millions of dollars, I can't recall seeing any office in St. Andrews where they're located.
The red flags is it's not $10,000. It's not $5,000. You know, some companies may get $5,000 as an NGO, but this is over $1 million.
But you know, what is important here, you know, it's the jubilant that came from the NNP platform when the MC, I think it was Sharma, and then the Prime Minister chipped in, and he said that he's sure that the candidate in the South would make it to nomination day. He's an NP candidate. But he was not so sure that the candidate for the National Democratic Congress, and it was insinuating on the platform that he would have been arrested and charged for something, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. But here you have the Prime Minister in the heat of an election, insinuating without shedding any evidence of wrongdoing from a political person in the heat of an election. And as fate would have it now, we are now overwhelmed with all these irregularities coming out of the office of the member for St. Andrews Southeast. And moreover, her husband that heads FIU. Look at all the young people. Look at all the young people that the FIU has brought into their names into disrepute. Look at Michelle Alexander. Look at Joel Greenidge. Look at Kim Jones. And what was their crime? They were not given $1 million subvention in no way, not operating anything illegally. All they probably got was $20 to assist them in doing their civic duties, which is to go on port duty and maybe go around the parliament and show their presence when some of the outrageous laws were threatened to pass. FIU made it their duty. FIU headed by the very said MP's husband and blacklisted several of us with some financial institutions. Western Union, MoneyGram, their names were listed as because of their subversive activities, they said. So therefore they couldn't, up to today, they can't do any transaction with MoneyGram or Western Union. You speak with Michelle, she will tell you of thing. And what was her crime? She was never involved in any illicit activities. She does not have any monies to launder. She's not involved in drugs or prostitution. Yet this very said FIU enlisted her as a threat to the security of Grenada. And right or wrong them, look at all the things that's happening. So today, I mean, it's I know in the past that the previous NDC, they talk a lot. They said they would do a lot. They let out a lot of steam. And when they got into office, they got comfortable with the job. And all of that went down the drain. But I think the time has come now where some examples have to be set. The Prime Minister did it. I don't know if he got away with it because the statute of limitation is still there. There is something outstanding with $3 million that was given by Trinidad for a Coast Guard vessel that has not been accounted for. the money was not used for the purpose of which it was intended. Recommendations were made to the then head of FIU. I think it was a Joseph Fuller that was then. The NNP came into office. They push him out of the way, and so far we have not heard anything about this investigation. So there's a whole lot that we need to do. They need to investigate just like the NNP do with innocent people. And I think the law should be equally applied. Why would the Prime Minister insinuate that the then candidate should be arrested and charged, and he wouldn't make it to nomination day, and here he has his then minister breaking the law by awarding contracts without proper bidding? That's illegal.
Yeah. You know, Michael, you asked a question earlier, and I'm looking through the financial, the statement of income and expenses here, right? And I don't know if this answers a few questions, but besides the $1,191,000 that was given as a subvention from government, here are some of the interesting things that is noted as expense. NIS contribution, 115,000. So you ask about if these people or if payments was made to NIS. They're stating on the expense that $115,913 was paid to NIS, right? Yes, and electric. The office has water bill, telephone bill, and electric. $300 in
obviously the listing of the telephone would be easy. The electric bill would be easy too, because of course we do not have wireless electric just yet. So it means that a landline would have been installed. So we're getting close. So now we can zero in on where that office was. Yeah.
Yeah. And
because,
go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, the location of the office is directly proportional to the relationship that the Member of Parliament has so appropriately discussed in the press conference. She said that she had a close working relationship. So the location of Faith Office would tell a whole lot.
Yeah. Guys, we open up the phone lines. We have at least about 10 more minutes before we wrap it up right here. We want to get some of your calls on it. We continue to get so much information into our... hold on, I'm getting some information. Let me just digest this a little bit, ingest this a bit. All right, so the Faith Office is at the Telescope Resource Center. Someone just sent me that information that the Faith Office is located at the Telescope Resource Center. That just came into us, Michael. I guess in answering the question as to their location, at least their location is registered at the Telescope Resource Center.
That is where in the articles of incorporation.
Right. Well, this person just sending me there. I'm getting a lot of information. I'll need some time to go through all of it.
Physical address that was given in the articles of incorporation. I'm talking about the operational aspect of the company. That's what I'm talking about. Because
right.
any address can be given in terms of in the articles of incorporation. That's when you form the company, you may see that I am John Broad, I'm John Brown, my address is in the middle of the street or whatever. But in actuality, you don't really have to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, listen, we are getting so much information, Michael. I want to share some of it to you to put it into perspective. I wanna go through everything. About 7 or 8 different messages have been coming in. I want to get a chance to go through it, sift it through, and kind of pick sense out of nonsense because I'm getting so much information that coming in. I think that it might be very valid information. I want to pick your brains on it as well when we get off the live. So, guys, we're going to do a follow up on this, right? We're going to do a follow up on this. And by tomorrow, we definitely will be able to give you guys additional information that we've got over tonight and into tonight and into tomorrow morning. And I'm sure that by going through some of the things, I will be able to get some more information out to you. Michael, in closing note, what's your conclusion to all of this that was uncovered today?
Well, I think everyone is innocent until they're proven guilty. I think that is what our Constitution provides. I believe everyone must be given an equal opportunity to vindicate themselves, whether it's in the public domain or before court of law. I think there is enough there. I would hate to see the NDC behave like the old NDC when they made a lot of noise, they let out a lot of accusations against a lot of people. And at the end of it all, nothing comes out of it. And I want to warn, if you have no evidence of any wrongdoings, then just quietly let it go away.
Right.
If you have the evidence that anyone has been involved in wrongdoing, including the MP, and by all indications, based on her utterances at the press conference, it appears as if laws were broken. And I believe in the public interest, full inquiry should be held into the operation of the company. And I want to urge the public that do not confuse that organization with other legitimate vendors in St. Andrews who had legitimate contracts, because a lot of them had legitimate contracts, and they worked very hard in implementing the terms and conditions under which their contracts were given.
Right.
Let's just stick with this faith organization. Let us just focus on what the MP said, the information that she gave at the press conference, and let us take it from there. And let us call on the authorities. It is time now that you put up or shut up. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you feel nothing wrong was done, then leave it alone. If you feel that a crime has been committed, then for heaven's sake, let the chips fall where it may.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. I will continue to follow up, Michael. If you get any leads, feel free to share it with us as well. We're going to do the same and get your
Yes, my brother.
insights.
Thank you so much. Pleasure was mine.
All right, good night. Guys, let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. You're watching Right Along Live.
Canadian products are now only a mouse click away at GrenadaMarket.com. Nutmeg and guava jams, jellies and syrups, world famous nutmeg pain relief spray, black sage, soursop, lemongrass, and bois bande bar. Ordering is simple and friendly. All major credit cards accepted. Safe, secure shopping guaranteed. GrenadaMarket.com ships your product anywhere in the world. So when you can't go to the island, the products off the island can be sent to you. Just log on to www.grenadamarket.com and experience our quick delivery and homely service.
Guys, as we say, there are so much information we're going to comb through and give you guys an update on what we found. And we do believe that there are or might be a present investigation going on. We are trying to get information our own self. And as soon as we get any news on any development, on any information, we'll make sure share it to you on our Facebook page. But we're going to continue to follow the story and keep all our viewers updated. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for being a part of our program today. We'll catch you guys again tomorrow. On behalf of all our team here at Ride Along Live, in the chat we have Gail, Charles, of course, Deanne Fraser, and Kibbs. Kibbs actually Notting Hill for Carnival right now. And our senior producer, Lois JJ, we say good night. And Jacoby holding it down, technical side here, live from New York City. I'm Junior George. Catch me again tomorrow. Good night. Guys, don't forget, this weekend, Labor Day weekend, if you're going to be in New York, you want to be a part of our Labor Day brunch, oil long brunch and ting. Look out tonight, guys. We're going to be posting all the final information, the location, and of course, your pre-order. You could pre-order your oil dung, you could pre-order your Lambie waters, you could pre-order everything. All right, that's our brunch, cocoa tea, oil dung, bakes and saltfish, and a whole lot more. It's the Ride Along Support Group brunch this weekend, Labor Day weekend, New York City. Also, guys, if you're looking for your Grenadian outfit, Caribbean outfit to play, to parade, or just to be on the parkway to represent, give us a call. We still have a few more left in these t-shirts, hoodies, tank top. Give us a call right here, Ride Along Live, and get yours. We're just in time. If you have not yet gotten yours, just in time for Labor Day.
Funeral service serve you with dignity and compassion as you mourn. Every day, we embark on the journey of life, and one day, the journey will end. It's on that day that you can entrust the celebration of life of your loved ones to David Williams Funeral Service. Call 718-291-3823.
Well, it's on the Ride Along, so it's happening here.
Came over here. What does it mean? You know, I grew up in what I guess you call a typical family.
We break all the stories, and that's just a fact. And that's why everyone has a story to tell.
Ride Along Live, I mean, yeah, it's a real deal.